think we're going to go ahead and get started. I want to thank you all for coming out tonight. Our speaker tonight hopefully is going to give you some great tips that's going to help you loosen up and play better tennis. He is won 40 national USTA championships. He's won 4 international championships. He is a member of the USTA Midwest Hall of Fame, and he's been a sports psychologist for virtually his whole life. So let's give a hand here for Neal Newman.
Thank you. Thanks, Bob. So I'm eager to tell you some things about a mental game and to see that what I'd like you to be doing is thinking of yourself as not just a player when you're on the court, but thinking of yourself as a self-coach, which means your job isn't just to play and win the game, although it'd be nice if you did well, but your job is to coach yourself and manage your experience. So to me, the coach's job includes playing at the level you know how to play, so you don't want to underachieve, having a good experience, so you want to have a good time out there, have a good experience, because you're playing, I'm assuming, to have a good time, so we want to remember that. It's also to improve, and I'm going to talk to you. I think this group might be a good group to talk about improving. And the fourth thing is to remember about being a good person. I think in managing my experience playing that being a good person is actually the most important part of it. And I would rather do that and lose a match than be like a nasty person on the court. Federer, by the way, how many are Federer fans? He said, one of my favorite things, he said, it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice. I thought that was a really cool thing. And my son Cole and I have won some national tournaments. And one day when he was a junior player, and the junior players play and try to get rankings, and so their tournaments are presumably important to them. So after he plays a tournament, the next day someone at my work comes to me and says, my son, that guy's son, says Cole is his hero. And I go, Cole is his hero? What did Cole do? And they told me this story that Cole didn't even say to me. And they said, Cole was playing a match, and the guy he's playing cramped. And it was going to be, he was about to get defaulted. The person who was running the tournament says, you only have so much time. And when he was about to pronounce match is over, Cole went up to that person running the tournament and said, excuse me, can I take my bathroom break now? And the guy said, well, yeah, you can take your breath. And he didn't have to go to the bathroom. He went and got Gatorade, bought it for the kid, gave it to the kid. The kid could continue. They ended up splitting sets, and my son ended up winning the match, but it was a close match. But the idea was being a good sport was more important than the winning or losing of it. And if you're going to be a coach and to yourself and not just a player, I would have you remember that part. Second part is improvement. And how many of you have played for a number of years? So that would be most of you have played. And it's always occurred to me, you get all these people who've played for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. And 20 years ago, they had a backhand that didn't work. And 20 years later, they have a backhand that doesn't work. And I'm going, if you do something for 20 years, is it possible you could do it better? I mean, so when I I've played all over the world, but as I was playing national events, I was noticing what the best players did and how I could compete against them, because I wanted to win some nationals, but I didn't know if I ever could. But in my 30s, I went from, first I had to go from just a slice backhand to a topspin backhand. And then I went, I'm not strong enough to do that backhand a whole match and have my arm not break down. I just had rotator cuff surgery, so that proves I was right about that. So I taught myself a two-handed backhand. And when I was first working on it, my friends I was playing with were going, "You're always experimenting with saying, what did you do?" And I'm going, "I've seen what the top players can do, and when they approach on this side, I want to be able to have that." And once I got that, then I started winning with regularity the national doubles and won some world titles. But it was adding that stroke that made a difference. Plus, I didn't have a better game than other people, but my mental game, the things that we talk about, I was pretty secure. So I didn't goof up. What I noticed in my playing with people is that I would keep my level up for a match, and other people would have a breakdown, either emotionally or stroke-wise. And it always surprised me, but I think it's all about mental game and coaching. But it surprised me. I'd play somebody, and I'd go, that person is absolutely equal player to me, and at 4-all, I'd break their serve, but I would be every time. Somehow, people would not keep their level up because they wouldn't know that regardless of the score, you got to keep your game on. So I want to teach you those things. I do a 5-session program sometimes where I'm doing mental skills training and mental state training and self-coaching training. So there's a lot I could teach, but I got to figure out what you guys want to know. But I know the first thing I want to teach you is there's a model that I work from. This is an organizing model. So we're going to work on that. So, and if you learn anything today, if you start using this, your game will be better. So I'm going to go through this. Present state is where you are right now. Present state. Present state means, and it's the attitude you have, the perspectives. It's also how's your mental state, how are your strokes, how's your physical state, how's your strategy. That's all what's going on in the now. But so I go and I hit my backhand in the net, and first thing I want you to say is that's okay. That's okay response. First thing. So we all miss, things happen. Then instead of being upset that you did that, you need to be interested in what happened there. That takes awareness. So we're going to be self-accepting. It's okay, self-accepting, but we also need to be aware. So was it a mental state problem? Was it a stroke problem? Was it a strategy problem? Was it a physical state problem? What's going on here? So think of yourselves, be curious, and you're detectives. You got to figure that out. And then next part is what's your desired state? So where do you want to be? And that's in that desired state, that's like the goal you have. So I hit it like that. I want to hit it like that. So what do I need to do to be able to do that? And that's the in between here and here are the resources. There'll be some kind of skills or perspectives that we need to add to get from here to there. So that's the model. And I'll give you a few examples of it so that you'll see. And then I'm going to test you guys on it to give you practice with the model. And then I'll do some training with you about perspectives and skills or mental state stuff or whatever is of whatever it seems like it would be good for you to learn. So what did I say I was going to do? What?
You said you were going to give us some examples.
And
work through the model, right?
Oh, thank you. This is my examples, not your examples. That's right. So I'm playing in a match and my serve gets tight. Serve gets tight. I'm playing great players. It's national 35 grass courts. And these were really great. But one guy was Davis Cup player for the U.S. The other guy had beaten Bjorn Borg on grass. My arm is tight. So present state, arm is tight. Desired state is be able to serve okay. So what do? So I pictured my arm relaxed, and imagined hitting through it. So this is only taking like 10 seconds. 10 seconds later, I'd made an adjustment and my arm was comfortable and I'm doing okay. Sometimes you can, that's focusing on the process. Sometimes people get in trouble because they're worried about the outcome and so they're tight. In that particular case, I could just do the mental state adjustment. Sometimes we need to do a perspective adjustment which says, focus on your process, don't worry about the outcome, or remind myself I'm in the learning frame, or face the challenge of it rather than the match being a threat. But there are perspectives that we need to have. Another example will be if, I told this in the hour before, I had a dream about, before I was playing in the World Championships in 2010, and 4 of us on the US team, 2 singles and a double. It's like Davis Cup. And so if the 2 singles guys split, it's up to the doubles guy. So I'm the doubles guy, but I'm also captain of the team. So there's a responsibility there. I had to organize practices, and I had to get our match time, and I had to set up lineups and things like that. And at the same time, I had a hip problem, which 8 months later, I had a hip replacement. So I'm dealing with that, but I was still playing fine, but it was a little bit of a factor. So night before the event, I have a dream that it turns out to be a perspective that I use for the event, which is why it's going to fit in that category. And the dream was to imagine a song, When You're Smiling. When you're smiling, when you're smiling. That's okay. So I'm thinking this song, and I wake up and I go, that's a silly dream. Why would I dream that? And I was going to dismiss it, and then I went, oh, I'm a psychologist. I can't dismiss a dream. It's got to mean something. So I went, okay, what does it mean? And I went, oh, it means I need to keep that good attitude through the event. So as the days went on, whether it rained and I had to walk a half mile to get our match time or our practice time, whatever it was, if there were circumstances going on, kept calm. In the finals of the event, we had a little adversity, and we were down a break in the third, but kept composed, kept smiling with me and my partner, and we were just going, we're doing our best. And we're break down, got the break back, went to third set tiebreaker, went for it in the tiebreaker, and won the World Team Championship. Yeah. So that was good. So in that time, that whole time, that perspective, when you're smiling, made the difference. That wasn't a particular skill of relaxing. That was having an attitude. So before you go play, I would suggest you come up with a perspective. What's the perspective I have today? So it could be, I want to improve today. I'm working on my backhand. I want to just learn. Or it could be, I want to just have a good time. Or it could be, I want to compete well. Whatever has been happening, there are some natural goals that will emerge. Last time I played, I let up at the end. So I want to play through to the end. Last time I played, I was nervous at the beginning. So I want to be warmed up and hit through the beginning. So you have some perspectives that going into your playing, you have goals that you're going to use. Let's see, skills. I want to teach you a few skills. Let's do let me know right now how relaxed you are on a 10-point scale. So come up with a number in your head. Don't actually let me know. We're going to do it after. You got a number? 10 is most relaxed. Then put one hand on your belly, one hand on your chest, and breathe normally. Just breathe normally. And if when notice which hand moves on the hand, which hand moves out on the inhale. And if it's not your belly that moves out on the inhale, switch to your belly. So I want everybody doing belly breathing. And count to 5 on the inhale, and count to 5 on the exhale, and then pause between breaths. 5 on the inhale, 5 on the exhale. Pause between breaths. And do a few breaths like that and see if you can really settle down. And then let's add to that the word calm on the exhale and relax your muscles head to toe on the exhale with your breath. Relax your muscles head to toe. Okay, so let's let that go. And now re-rate your level of relaxation. So this is just one skill. Re-rate your, what did you go from what to what, Frank?
7 to 8.
7 to 8?
I was pretty
4. So what did it go from what to what?
4 to 3.
Oh, more relaxed would be higher number.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
7 to 8?
7 to 8 is good.
Yeah, what did yours?
5 to 8. I have 2 little kids at home and thinking about my husband's with.
What did yours go?
I went from 7 to 8.
Okay. What did yours go?
Same thing, 7 to 8.
And what did yours go?
I was 7 to 8.
Okay. So wasn't huge changes, but a little more comfort. What you need to know is that you can shift your internal state. Once that possibility is there, then it's a matter of learning skills. There are many skills that have to do with how you talk to yourself, how you breathe, how you do your muscles, what you picture. And those are examples of skills. Now, let's work with your mental state adjustment, but I want to do this right now with you all standing up. So I want to see your forehands the way you want to hit it. Comfortable. Hit your forehand the way you want to hit it. Okay? Hit the forehand the way you want to hit it. Okay? Okay, good, 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 good. And now hit the forehand even more confidently. So imagine you're not only comfortable, you're confident. Yeah, so be confident, hit a few like that. So when you went from comfortable to confident, your stroke looked like it changed. So the question becomes, how do you want to play? Do you want to play comfortable? Do you want to play confident? Now let's hit it comfortable and confident. Combine the two. Okay? So, would you play better? How many of you would play best comfortable and confident? So most people would say they want that. So now go and play, hit tense. Hit tense. Be tense and hit. Be tense and hit. How many of you get tense sometimes when you play? Everybody. I had, by the way, someone came to my office once and said, sometimes I feel like a teepee and sometimes I feel like a wigwam. What's my problem? And I said, you're too tense. Okay, so now hit tense. Hit like you're tense. So something changes, right? Something changes. Now go from tense, hit tense. It's your present state, you recognize it. Now go, I want to hit more confident and comfortable, and switch it. So make the adjustment. Okay, good, 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 good. How many of you ever get frustrated and angry on the court? Ever? Never? It never happened. So now, how do you hit when you're frustrated and angry? Then do that. So let's see. Swing, 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 swing frustrated and angry without hitting anyone near you. Hit frustrated and angry.
It's like this.
So your stroke goes that way. Okay, now fix that and go to comfortable. Comfortable and confident. Comfortable and confident. Okay, so now everybody sit down. Okay, good, 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 good. So if you're using this model, the important thing to know is if I'm not hitting the way I want to hit, I can get myself more comfortable. Now, if sometimes it's just a matter of I'm just hitting tense, I need to relax. Sometimes you need to shift the perspective. I need to stop worrying about winning and losing and just play and picture how I want to hit. Sometimes it's just that. Sometimes it's as simple as what you just did. But you can't do this unless you know what's the stroke I want to hit. How do I want to hit? I know I want to hit this. I'm not doing it. So let me picture that. Let me step into that. And then you can make the adjustment. That's playing the mental game when you make the shifts so that you can make adjustments. But it starts with being self-accepting and decoding it. When you miss a shot, it can be because of technique breaking down. Probably a lot of you don't have, anyone here have perfect technique? So it happens. So, so it's apt to be that some aspect of technique broke down. So why not have a good time? You're here to learn and improve. That's your perspective. And I missed, so let me see how to fix that. That's technical. But sometimes you're in a match and you're playing fine, but for some reason you get tight of worrying about the outcome. It's either from being ahead, being behind, or being even. People can pick anything and go, well, I was fine, but then I was behind. Then the next I was fine, but I got ahead. And then the next person was, well, the match was even. Who wouldn't be nervous the match was even? So we can find any reason to have trouble, but your job is let me stay with technique and get good that way. So to help you with your strokes right now, we're going to do an imaging with repetition drill. Imaging with repetition is a way not to give you a better stroke than you already have, but to help you be more confident with what you have. Eventually, if you're doing the improvement part, you'll get a better stroke. But in any moment in a match, it's not about, right now I think I'll learn how to play tennis. No. I was once, by the way, I was playing in a court next to me were people that were not good, they were kind of beginning players, but very nice. And they had a tarp like this, and my ball went behind it, and the guy went to get my ball, and I said to his partner, I said, where did your partner go? I can make him appear. So he comes out with my ball, and the guy says to me, now can you turn him into a tennis player? I could only do so much. Okay, so pick a stroke that isn't your most confident stroke, but something that you can do a little bit. So it might be something that if you were, well, just pick a stroke that right now you're not confident in. And what I'm going to ask you to do is image it with repetition 10 times in a row. But I want you to see the ball come at you. I want you to feel yourself hitting it. So, and it might be that you'll feel like, that you know you're doing it right when the light seems to dim a little bit. so if you notice that. You want to hit 10 in a row. 10 in a row, same stroke. 10 in a row. But you got to see the ball, feel yourself hit it with repetition. So see it and feel it. And so what you're doing, when we get in trouble, we have disconnected from the stroke. And right now we're reconnecting with it. We're reconnecting to the rhythm of the stroke. So image with repetition. Do 10 of the stroke, please. Now do 10 more, just 10 more. But the key is to really see it and feel it, and get the connection to the stroke so that you feel the rhythm of the stroke. So you got it. 10 more. Okay, so now come on back and rate your confidence in hitting the stroke the way you know it right now and what the change was. What did it go from what to what? 10 is high, so it went from what to what?
5 to 7.
5 to 7. Okay, what did yours go from?
Probably about the same.
Are you copying?
No.
Okay, 5 to 7. What did yours go from?
I would say 6 to 8.
6 to 8?
I might change.
Unfortunately, your stroke's still there.
Yeah.
What did yours go to?
4 to a 6.
Okay, so we got. What did yours do? 5 to 7. Okay, so we got. Anybody else want to say? Okay, well, so the idea is that would be one of the skills. So I missed my shot. I imaged with repetition, and so I'm now hitting the ball the way I can hit the ball. So it didn't mean I learned how to hit the ball, but so what happens is we go to play, especially I think the more hours you play, there's a book, Outliers, which talks about it takes 10,000 hours for mastery. So most of you have not played 10,000 hours. It may feel like it, but you probably haven't played. So you don't quite have full connection to all the strokes. It takes a little time. How many of you, when you go to play, the first minute, you don't have all your timing, but after a little while you get it? That's true of most players. So if you want to be more connected to your strokes and play better, before you go play, go through each one of your strokes and image with repetition. Do 10 on each stroke. So forehand down the line, forehand cross court, backhand cross court, backhand down the line, volley, return, serve. It'll only take a couple minutes. What happens then, you get on the court and you'll have like a connection to the ball. And the first one that comes, like you don't even know how it happens, but instead of the ball coming and you're all out of kilter to begin with, you'll go, first ball comes and, I'm ready to, I'm timing it, I'm on the ball a little better. So you can do that with that mental skill. Billie Jean King used to stare at a tennis ball. I do this before a match. I'll stare at something just to get my focusing there. So she would stare at a tennis ball so that ball would feel like it's part of her and not some random object flying through space. How many of you sometimes feel like the ball is a random object flying? But when you play well, you feel like it's part of you, right? So if you do that staring at a tennis ball, if you do the imaging with repetition, we can get that. Let me do a little mental state thing with you right now. I can't do the full range of things, but we had comfort and confidence. So picture what it's like to play with comfort and confidence and get into the image of that either by remembering what that feels like or making up what it feels like. And let's spend 30 seconds in really vividly imaging playing with comfort and confidence. Let's do that right now. Playing with comfort and confidence. Feel how you get through the stroke well. Feel the strength of the confidence. And as you feel all that, I want you to picture a color that represents that mental state. Picture a color that represents that mental state. Okay, then let's come back to the room here. So this is called anchoring, and it's a way to retrieve a state. So if you want, you could, I just picked 2 ingredients, but we can, I mean, if we had time, we would pick the optimal mental state each one of you wants. But for now, you have comfort and confidence, and you have a color. So if it's anchored, when you see that color, you'll feel the state. So everybody see the color, and let's see if you get the state. And for some of you, you will have anchored the state. The state anchors to the extent you were experiencing it vividly as the time that you did it. So how many can see the color and feel the state? So a bunch of you can. Okay, if you can't, you could redo it on your own and get it. But the advantage of this is you could be playing a match and you start to get tense, and now you go, let's say tense is orange and this is blue. I've just made that up. But then you're in your orange state, you could switch to the blue state. And so you go from tight to okay. Now, you can get to that optimal state, comfort and confidence, by saying comfort and confidence. Those words will get you there. So you can do it that way, or you can just picture that color. But you can do this quickly. So the idea is mental state, we're only as good as our mental state. If we get in a bad mental state, our game kind of goes awry. So you can pick the mental state you want and then solidify it with an anchor. In this case, we happened to use a color. We could use other things for an anchor. And then now you're playing from within a good state. If you get out of state, now I'm in the orange state, then go to the blue state, and now I'm back. So we're not vulnerable to getting out of kilter, because anybody can get out of kilter, but the idea is to get back into where we want to be. So right now, let's go. So I wanted to give you a few skills for mental states and for working with your strokes. Let's now, everybody, think of an example of using this model, because I want you to be able, the present state, desired state, and resources, just so you have a reference experience for yourself. So think of a time where you maybe something that would have thrown you before, and now think of how you could fix it. It could be a missed shot, a bad call, something else going on in a match that's untoward, but you this time recognize it, or accepting, flow with it, but decode what's going on, see what would be better, and then come up with skills. So I'll give you 2 minutes to go through your example. This is to make sure you understand the model, because leaving here today, I really want you to be using this as things occur in a match, and you can use this outside of tennis as well. So I'll give 2 minutes to think of your example. Okay, so did you have time? What did you come up with? Anybody? What did you come up with?
Well, I don't know if this is the greatest example, but thinking of a situation that was last time I played with my doubles partner here, and I was...
It's her fault, right? I knew
her
it.
fault. But I was on the deuce side, and the opponent, when she was serving on the deuce side, had a crazy serve that would curve, and I thought I was going to get it on my backhand, but it would
Right,
jam.
right.
So I guess if I could do it over, knowing this, I would, after I hit it into the net, I would accept that that happened and say that's okay. And then I would picture like doing it, being more comfortable and.
So what adjustment would you make then?
I would stand further back and I would be
Nice.
more prepared for it to come closer to me.
Yeah,
and
nice.
move
That's
my
great.
positioning, I
That's
guess.
great.
I wish I would've
My
done
son
that.
my son played at Denison, and while he was at Denison, they asked me to be the sports psychologist for the team, so I would go to some of the matches. One match, and they knew I was a player as well. So one match, two of the players on the team are playing, and they had gone indoors where the surface was a lot faster. And this guy was serving and acing this guy in the deuce side. So, and it's a close match, and it's trouble, and it's getting towards the end of the match. And on a changeover, one of the player on the deuce side came over to me and he said, "Hey Doc, what can I do? I'm getting killed." I said, "It's very easy. Take 2 steps to your right, and he's going to hit the ball over there, and you'll be fine." So he took 2 steps to his right, hit 2 winners. They win the match. But your adjustment, you weren't getting beat that way. You were getting beat this way. So I liked your idea. I could take a step back. But and that's like a strategy change. That's one of the things. But the idea is present state, I'm getting beat in here. So if you're curious rather than upset, then you make an adjustment, and which, as you're using the model, you do. So look how
It didn't turn out very well.
No. Now you're making the adjustment.
Yeah.
Don't be mad at her. She did the best she could. She's doing what she can do.
The girl didn't have the same hook for the ag side.
That went right to your foot. That went right there. Yeah.
And now I'll think of my new color, which is turquoise.
Oh, nice color. Yeah. Well, so and if you're in a good mental state, it's even easier to make the adjustments, because instead of being all upset, you go, oh, I need to do something different. It's amazing, by the way, we haven't talked much about strategy. It's amazing how when you change strategy, how much easier things can be. Some of you are at a point where you're just beginning to think a little more strategically on the court. I've had matches where I had one match I was in my 30s playing an open match, and I'm playing a top seeded guy, and he's like 15 years younger or whatever, and I'm getting beat, and I'm hitting it solid, and I'm getting beat, and the guy was mean to me. Because on a changeover, I'm enjoying the match. He's just a good player, and I'm enjoying the match. And on the changeover, I say, "Oh, I just need to get a sip of water." Now I'm like down 2 breaks, and I say, "I just need a sip of water." He says, "You have 30 seconds." But like I'm going, "What?" So that was a mistake on his part, because I went from being easygoing, which I'm a very easygoing guy, but I went, I don't think he should have done that. Now I'm not going to be so nice. Now I was still thoughtful with him and respectful, but I went from a basic serve and volley game that fit into his strengths to all junk balls. And so he would serve and I would drop shot, and he would come in and I'd lob over his head. And so changing this strategy. Now you would think he's just a good player, but he couldn't handle that change. He ended up breaking 2 rackets, and I won the match. I used his meanness to get more determined, which was my better mental state for competing well. But other times, I'm lefty, and I have a really good serve out wide, and I was on a grass court, and I'm serving great serves out wide, and I'm down 6-0 the first set. And so I go, okay, and my doubles partner was watching my singles match, and then he got called to his match, and I thought, this is going to be fun when he sees that I win this match after his match. So I changed, even though that's my serve, I went and I served to his forehand, I went, he can't be as good. The guy, I'm hitting balls down here, and he's hitting winners down the line, winners across. I go to his forehand, and he couldn't handle it. So there's always people that seem invincible. There's always something. It may be if you hit a lob, they can't go backwards. It may be if you hit it short, they're not as good. It may be you hit a little bit of a more loopy ball and they're not as good. So I'd like you to think part of managing your experience is going to be, let's take a look at what can I change. If you're in a game where you go, I'm playing my game, I'm playing well, but I'm getting clobbered. Let's make some part of the mental game would be, let's see if a shift makes a difference. And you'll be amazed how it does make, I mean, I sometimes can't believe it. You know, you go change pace a little bit, change height a little bit, do some, and someone who seems invincible now is struggling and they get frustrated. And once they get frustrated, and not everyone has come to this workshop and knows how to get the turquoise blue color. So not everybody has that. So that's how it goes. Let's see, how are we? Let's, one more example of the model. Anyone want to say? Yeah, good.
Well, I'm a 4-0 player, but I play weekly with 4 or 5 players. And yet
That's WEEKLY?
Yes.
Okay.
And so I know that there's a level of confidence I lack.
Okay.
But I do know that if I could shift my level of confidence
Okay.
and comfortableness at the net to poaching more, taking risk on poaching, and deal with the process as opposed to trying to focus on the outcome, I'm going to miss it.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So
you have the answer already.
yes.
The answer is, I need the perspective of do my thing at the level I do it. And even if you're a 4-0 playing with 5-0s, that doesn't matter. There are things you do that work, and you got to do those things. So if you're asked to run wide and hit like you might go, I don't got that. But if you go, I can poach and I got a little size and I got good hand-eye and I can put that away. So you do. I play a lot of father-son tennis with my son. So you get a lot of mixes and levels. And the person who's the lower rated person could be by age or by tennis ability. I mean, that person still can do some things. So the trick is, let me figure out what I can do on this court. My son and I played one father-son team. The son was ranked 70th in the world on the Pro Tour double. The father was a weak player. So I said to my son, we have to lob it over the dad, but so it doesn't go over his head. Because if it goes over his head, the son will come over and hit a winner. But some of the dads wouldn't be like that son, but they could volley. And now if the dad was a little better and could volley, and he holds his ground, now the son doesn't have to cover that. He can cover what he can. Suddenly, they're an effective team. So you want to do, let me do what I do and handle that with confidence. And I don't have to be same level as my partner. Let my partner run around and do all those things. But I'm actually helping because ball goes here, bang. Yeah. You're putting away. And then what you do is you find out with particular partners, one partner, I have different doubles partners that I've won nationals with. And one of them will say, if the ball's over there, I need you to go get it, bang. The other one goes, I want to hit my first volley. I don't want you going because I can't cover behind you. So you find out what your partner is asking for from you, but it sounds like for you to be your best, you want to be a presence at the net and do that. You don't have to be great at all the other things, but so you can be in that game and be confident in that game, but that doesn't mean you're saying I'm better than this player, but it means I can do, because all the father-son matches are like that. You know, not every team is balanced. I mean, some teams are balanced, but but the person who's not as good a player, maybe it's a dad that can still get back on an overhead. And so you can't quite lob there. And the dad doesn't cover much, but he can volley. And he can. Now you're going, he's not exploitable there. He couldn't play the whole court like this guy, but he does. And that sounds like what you would be able to do. Okay, good, good. Any other? Let's go with questions, comments. Anybody want to know anything about anything? I don't have all the answers on the NCAA brackets, though. Yeah.
How do you respond when someone makes a bad call?
Someone makes a bad call, I say, I'll get my tough wife on you. If someone makes a bad call, first time I'll say, are you sure I didn't see it? I saw it different. If they make it a second time, I might still do that. If I really don't trust them, then I go get an umpire. I'm not going to. I've got a doubles partner. We were on our way to St. Louis to play a national 35 indoors, and I said, and they didn't show us the draw ahead of time. They didn't used to put it online or anything. And I said, is there anyone you don't want to play? And he said, I've just been to Texas, and I played this guy that's the biggest cheater I ever played against. And I said, I don't care who I play, but I don't want to play that. So we get to the club, and the club has an umpire on all these like 8 courts, but there are 2 courts up above where they're not putting an umpire, and he draws that guy to go play up there, and I'm playing up there also next to him. So they start their match. First point, my doubles partner hits a great shot, like 3 inches inside the baseline. The guy calls it out. He looks at me, and I go like that. Second point, he hits it on the other side, 6 inches in. The guy calls it out. He looks at me, I go like that. So he goes and gets an umpire, and then they were fine. I mean, sometimes people do it because they're cheaters, sometimes because they can't see. Sometimes, I mean, you know, but I'm not going to get in a fight with someone. I had a match where a person wouldn't let me make a call. He was having a bad emotional day, and turned out he had some mental problems, but that's not the point. But so the ball would bounce here, and I'd call it out, and he'd go, that was in. I'd go, well, I'm sorry. And it happened like 4 times. And then I said, you're not really letting me call any ball out. I said, let's get an umpire. So got an umpire. They had a roving umpire at this national. And he comes over, and we play out the game. And he was an equal player to me. He's a good player. Play out the game. I win the game. And he says, deuce. And I go to the umpire. I said, okay, you came here. The score was such and such. And we played this point, this point, this point. And the umpire says, I'm sorry, I wasn't watching. So I said, okay, so let's bring someone over here. You're the roving umpire. We need to bring someone here who'll stay here. So I had to break serve again. It was like the only break of the set. I had to break serve again and play through. And then once we had an umpire, the umpire overruled him 4 times the next set. Didn't overrule me ever. But then we had a match. But I'm not going to get in a fight with the person. But I will say, and I have had some people, when I'm sure of a call, and I have a good reputation, so I've had people even reverse calls and go, if you're sure, it's yours. But if you're not sure, you're not supposed to call it. But that's how I would handle it.
How did you not let that affect your play, though? Like,
well,
were you seething underneath your skin?
My job, we didn't do the Simon Says game, but there's no time for that here. But the idea is you stay focused on what's important to you. So I need to play my game, and I need to play my game regardless of what happens. So that doesn't mean I need to play my game unless I get a bad call. No. I need to play my game unless I miss a shot. No. I need to use this model, present state. So I'm frustrated with his calls. I need to problem solve that. I can't let it affect my mental state. I got to stay in that turquoise place, and I've got to still play. So remember the when you're smiling story. So no matter what happens, I'm when you're smiling. So if you go into the match with that framework, then as things occur, you don't let it throw you as much. And playing the mental game means you're not letting things throw you. And at the end of the day, then you say, how did I do handling that stuff? And that's your job, is to handle it. Okay, so I guess we're done. Thank you for attending. Thanks for being here. Otherwise, I would have been all alone up here. So thank you. If you have questions, come on up and I'll answer.
I just want to say thanks.
Thanks for being
It
here.
was good to see you.
Yeah, it's good.
Looking pretty good.
Doing the best I can with all my new hip replacements. They're all new parts, so I guess it's not fair to the other players that I have new fresh parts. Yeah.
Okay,
Well, good to see you. Okay. Yeah.
I'm Terry.
Hi, Terry.